All right. Well, it was a challenge, but it was a challenge that I think, or at least I hope, Razor was worth taking for the Boston Bruins as they took on the Ottawa Senators, a team that played their asses off on Tuesday night. The Bruins win 3-2 in what ended up being a pretty entertaining game to watch. Whether you were in the studio, you were rinkside, you were at home, it was a good game. As we welcome you into Morning Brew with Jaffe and Razor, talking about the Bruins' victory that started out like anything but entertaining if you were a Bruins fan. Holy crap, was that a first period of dreck, as the Boston Bruins were only down 1-0. But I mean, I just felt like not engaged mentally nor physically. And Razor, I understand that a Tuesday night can be more difficult than a Saturday night in Toronto or Montreal. But, when it's all said and done, bud, this team isn't good enough to take off. Not yet, at least, right? Periods and time and to wade into a game, especially against a young, energetic team like Ottawa.
No, they're not. And we were made aware of that in the first period, that they can't cruise. Toronto got the brakes beat off of them Monday night against the LA Kings, which is expected to be it does happen at this time of year. But back to the Bruins, they did they survived. They were lucky to be out of there 1-0. They certainly could have really shot themselves in the foot, but they got out of that. And you do typically find a way, that 1-0, is a whole big difference than 2-0. And, but again, it's the one issue is it's the getting out of the zone. They're not on the same page. The defense and the forwards watching tonight intently, because we talked about it after the Toronto game, they weren't getting out of the zone very well. There's giveaways, and watching again against Ottawa, it's the same thing. It's the same. The wingers aren't taking the patterns the defensemen are expecting them to. So there's some kind of disconnect, and that's really when they're getting in trouble. Once they, the first period wasn't good in the offensive zone, but they still can find a way to make plays. But it's coming out of their zone when they have full possession that's causing them problems, which is not typical in the NHL.
No, and it started very early in this game, just a little over a minute in, and the Bruins had another turnover too, even before the Hall turnover. But I understand, speaking of routes, I get it. The Bruins love to use the centerman, a low center in their own zone, whether it's from the D to the front of the net or the center coming in low and getting a short pass from the wing. Like, was Hall expecting that to happen? But if you make these plays, you can't push it. You got to put it on the stick of your teammate, and it leads to the Norris goal. And I can live with a mistake early on, but this was more than just one, and this was real. They were, like you said, they were all about getting out of their own zone, and that's what got to me. Mistakes are going to happen, but it's the repeatedness that started to really, and still, by the way, bothers me. They find a way to win in a good way, mind you, a good win, but it still bothers me how ineffective they were in that first period. And, that play typified their first period when Norris scored a goal. And by the way, Swayman had the puck come off of him. I understand. You should tell me, was that a bad rebound or just a rebound that's going to happen given where that shot was taken from?
No, that's a bad rebound. I didn't see an interview from him. I didn't hear from him, but that's a bad rebound. And it's a little harder when it's the first shot of the game. That's one of those ones where the turnover happens, you panic a little bit because you're not in the rhythm of the game and it hits you and bounces off. But that's one where at least 96 out of 100 times he smothers that. I think we saw, and I'm not a Matt Murray fan by any means, but he smothered all of his shots that were similar. There were some similar plays, and even Swayman in the second period, Brick talked about the big save he made at the 2-1 game prior to giving up the second goal. That was a harder smother to make, and he made it look easy. So no, I didn't like this. I didn't like that goal, especially early in the game, but again, he bounced back from that as well. Similar to the Bruins, he held on and did a good job on the PK. The other thing is, and I'm curious, being closer to the ice, it's harder to see them. But I also got the feel where the Bruins are taking bad penalties.
Awful.
Too many bad penalties.
Yeah.
I thought all of them were penalties against them. And again, that's part of dodging the bullet. Like if they're playing a good team, they're down 2 or 3-0 with 5-on-3s and 4-on-3s and giveaways and just sloppy.
I agree with you. I mean, we talked about in the show. I think it was 7 times or 8 times shorthanded in this game. The Bruins now have been shorthanded. If it was 8 times, 37 times shorthanded this season. I just don't remember that. Oh my God, was it ever? Let me just pull it up so it's accurate. 6 times. 0 for 6 was Ottawa, bigger time. So 35 times this year. But at least 2, if not 3 of them were in the ozone too. Taylor Hall, Jack Studnicka. I mean, that's really, and by the way, I think that, that I know that will impact how Bruce looks at it. It impacted how he didn't play Taylor Hall the last few minutes. He put Jake DeBrusk out there. He didn't play Jack Studnicka at the end. And, if assuming Uncle Nick Foligno was coming back on Thursday, I don't see Jack, if everybody's healthy.
He's going to go back to the minors. He's just not doing it. You got to score. He's got to do something that's impactful. He does. Right. And it can't be a bad penalty. It just, that's the reality of pro hockey.
Yeah. It's harsh, but it's real. I just think, and I don't want to, I'll jump to this because this is a podcast. So we can go wherever the hell we please. But, you think if Foligno comes back in, that he's either taking Trent Frederick's spot or he's going to go back to his third line spot with Haula and DeBrusk. And that'll mean that Lazar would go to the fourth line. Mm-hmm. Well, he was there in this game. Beg your pardon, but
he moved around though. Lazar, they like Lazar. He gets even there was 5 minutes left in the third period. They pushed Lazar out. They took Bergeron off. Yep. Actually, when the ref's arm went up, Patrice actually skated off. I was shocked to see that, and Lazar came out and took the face off over on the right side. So I would expect he drops back with Nosek, and what did they bring in? A Bleed or one of those guys. Kuhlman maybe checks in. They move Lazar to the low. Something.
Yeah, maybe it'll be interesting.
But if Foligno, he's got to go to the third line. Get those guys going again.
I would think so, right? That's where I would think Foligno goes. I think. Well, we'll see. Again, that's jumping ahead there.
It's secondary to what's going on too.
Exactly, and so a lot of bad stuff in the first, to the point where I don't know if anybody ripped them or if the players just took ownership in the locker room. Something happened, no question. And I think they just took ownership, is my guess. And by the way, I thought the top guys, top 6 for sure, but really, I thought the top 3 were really poor in the first period. The Bergeron line, and then they came out and they did top line things in the second and third period. I love the physical play, and mind you, a lot of that was Ottawa bringing it. DJ Smith was a physical player when he played the game. It's how he wants his kids to play. And I'll tell you what, they gap up well. They shut you down, whether it's at even strength. How about in their PK? Holy smokes, did they shut them down in the neutral zone at the line. But then the Bruins thankfully responded physically. And I thought the physical response, Razor, had a big influence in their outcome of the game.
It did. They answered the bell. I think they were probably a little caught off guard by it. It looked like they were caught off guard by it, weren't quite prepared, ready for it. And they came out and started to initiate. And as soon, you could tell, as soon as, whether they were initiating physically or initiating with their skill, Ottawa couldn't hang anymore. They don't have enough. They don't have enough talent, flat out. And that was one of those nights where Matt Murray needs to make a save for them, and he doesn't have that ability in the second period either. He just he's just not, his game's not there, confidence wise. And so it wasn't pretty. It wasn't pretty, but I think they found that way. They're good at home now. They still have that perfect record. I'm also curious where we've talked about the D, and again, it is a little quiet from a Carlo again, a little
Yep.
quiet from even from McAvoy. Didn't really, he had the nice hit in the third period, but just kind of steady. Forbert, listen, another goal from him. I like the way he played. I know he
Much
had some
more
issues
involved.
on.
Yeah.
He
Yeah.
had some issues on the PK. It looked like they had a little conversation over on the bench, but I'm curious how it looked on the fifth, just where the D were going and how they were
Not great.
organized.
I mean, it
Yeah.
got better as the game went on. I think they were stepping up more. They were gap better. Uh, Quiet from Riley too. I felt. I felt real quiet. Connor Clifton. I thought he had himself a pretty good game. He was doing Cliffy hockey,
He's in
not
the
just the
mix.
yeah,
Yeah.
not just the fight. And by the way, that Formenton cross check should have been called right before the fight. Like,
Mhm.
holy shit, cross checked him right in the chin. I
Yeah.
mean, I get that, but okay. From the fifth, the D. Look, I tell you what I thought was good from the D Razor movement. They got moving up top. They started to find themselves in more of a rhythm. I thought more flow as the game went on, especially in the second, late second, and then even some in the third. And I feel that I know that helps keep the forecheck alive. It was good. It was at times, but in general, I still have concerns about the D crew as it's constructed right now.
Yeah. No, I agree, and it just has to be a little crisper. And I am a little less being watching tonight. I'm a little less inclined to blame all of these breakouts on the D.
Mhm.
Um,
I'm with you.
like I was maybe a couple days ago.
Mhm.
Because again, they have full possession. I just feel like there's something you don't see National League defensemen consistently make the wrong play from the back end.
So you're right. Do you remember? And sorry to interrupt. Do you remember
Yeah.
earlier in the game in the first period? It was I can't remember which D made it to Howla, and he freaking didn't handle it right in the neutral zone. I mean, like not in the neutral zone, but
Yeah,
you
right at
know,
the like
blue line.
it's D to D, perfect D to D. They make the right read, then they make the right play to the forward, and then it,
Yeah,
it blows up somehow.
yeah.
It so but it's still there's some plays on him. The breakaway in the third period, Carlo has no idea the guy's behind him, and he
Yep.
gets his pickpocket, and then the little chip and break these little breakdowns that you get away with. They're not getting away with them when Connor McDavid gets that breakaway.
No,
It's
no.
going to be a little bit different. So, I also do get a sense, and I know we're on the podcast, and not to go back to this, but I do get the sense that these guys are really still trying to feel out an 82 game schedule. Um, Being down there, and I think they really are trying to gear themselves up for this, and they recognize they haven't played a lot of games, but they're going to get slammed with them. It just seems like there's this um, anxiety over that almost.
How can you measure that? Meaning, uh, I'm picking up. I get what you're saying, but how do you? Is it just how do you measure that? Like from your perspective, is because if they were a team that was kind of rolling through things, I'd have an easier time accepting that. I don't right now because they don't have an identity right now. They don't have that Tampa. Look, Tampa's got the cachet as far as I'm concerned to say, let's hold on here. Let's figure this thing out. And by the way, that might even come to bite Tampa in the ass. They've been losing some games, but I give them the benefit of the doubt right now, Razor.
No, I agree as well. But I also you look at Florida. Now they've just got hammered 2 games in a row.
Mhm.
They get hammered by New Jersey. They lose to New York the night
Yep.
before. Oh, they lost 2 games in 2 nights. They
Right.
don't have a coach now. They lost the Bruins on
Yep.
all of a sudden you can spin the Florida Panthers into that. I think every team is the identity thing isn't
Mhm.
going to happen. I think it's going to take a little bit longer
Okay.
with
I'm fine with
everybody.
that. Yeah.
That's I think that we again the craziness and the 56 games they needed the identity quicker. It was just a weird year. I think this year is that identity. It's back to thinking about And maybe it got pushed to Christmas time. It got pushed to the holiday season rather than that Thanksgiving number, maybe because of the end of the season. And but they have to get to it. And I'm not giving them a pass on that. They do have to get to it because they can't float till the end of January to find their identity. They need to get it. And I give you that. I just think that it's odd. It just seems odd right now.
Yeah, I would agree with I definitely agree with that. It doesn't feel it feels different. It feels off. I don't know if they can get there though if the second and third line don't start scoring.
Yeah, no, it has to be the second line. I agree. The third line is done a pretty good job. I think they've been unlucky, whereas the second line again, like Craig Smith is non-existent tonight. Taylor Hall non-existent. Charlie, I literally sat on the glass all game. I don't remember Charlie Coyle once. Literally once. I don't remember him. Those guys are making, and I hate going to the money thing, but those guys are getting paid a lot of money to drive this team. And against an Ottawa Senators team, they should have good matchups. They should be able to dictate how they want to play the game. So I agree. That's a little worrisome.
Coyle played 13-11. Hall played 11-26, and then Smith played 10-52. So for
that's crazy.
I know,
crazy.
2 out of the last 3 games, the third line has vastly out time on ice the second line. I know we had special teams. I get it. But you want Charlie Coyle being out there killing penalties, don't you?
Yeah.
He played 106 shorthanded, so he got some PK time. Craig Smith did a little bit PK. Each guy had a minute 42 of power play time. Not as much, obviously, as a top unit, but it's the 5-on-5, the even strength numbers, where they just aren't playing a ton. So they need those guys to pick it up. They do. You cannot go anywhere without that line getting going.
1,000%. They need to score goals like Patrice did tonight. They need to find a way to score goals. Like,
right.
Just scramble, plunk it in on net. Like, yes, like nothing pretty. It doesn't have to be tic-tac-toe. Like, find a way.
Well, Bruins get goals from Derek Forbort, Patrice Bergeron, Brad Marchand. The Marchand goal comes on a power play with him just standing pretty much in the crease on the far post. Pastrnak. I wouldn't put it past Pastrnak to shoot towards there, knowing that Marchand would be right there. I don't know if he meant to shoot it that high.
I thought he took a bit. I thought he took some off of it to put it in that area.
Yeah, I thought so too. Knowing that, it did, but you could tell by Marshy's response, he kind of jerked a little bit right there when it caught him, because it didn't hit him in the shins. It hit him in the midsection. Yeah. And then Forbort with the nice goal coming in from the point. And then the captain, Patrice Bergeron, your roomie and your Zamboni driver, he's a rider. You were a driver.
Let's not forget that. I was
exactly. You drove. You're a line driver, or in that case, you drove the line in the commercial.
I'm a Hall of Fame driver. Yes.
Well, everybody has their role. By the way, Dan Craig, the ice guru for the NHL, just retired, and he should go to the Hall of Fame for making ice like he has done for the league, especially with the outdoor games. Total off the beaten path type of suggestion. Let's throw in here a real quick Morning Brew friend, because Spark Skate Sharpener back again as a sponsor on this show. And the spark of the game. What was there a spark of the game that you had besides just being down rinkside for this one? Is there anything that sparked your interest?
The spark. I want to give it to Forbort for his spark of the like going down the wing, scoring another goal, big defenseman. I think that's my spark of the game. I don't know. Did you have something else in mind, or?
I liked Marchand's in the second period, his stick handling along the wall and the offensive zone, brought it back up towards, on the right side, kind of brought it over. I thought that was a moment that got people back energized. It brought people from the back of their seat to the front of their seat, because I got to tell you something, man. The intermission at between the first and the second, when they did the 3 minutes of fame with the little kids out there from Top Gun, that was more entertaining for the fans than anything the Bruins did in the first period. So they had nothing to cheer about until I thought Marshy went and started doing Marchand things. I also thought the fight was nice, and it was appropriate. It was by Connor Clifton, and I mean, I could give that too. But Forbort coming down the side, once Hall decided to move out of the way, basically, and got his feet moving, completely opened up, and the man-to-man defense there took over for Ottawa, and that opened up the lane for Forbort, and he just tucked it under the arm of Matt Murray. So we can call all those the spark sharpener,
I like that.
The spark of the game. Everybody knows that getting your hockey skates sharpened can be a hassle, but you don't need to worry anymore with the Spark Skate Sharpener, because you can sharpen your skates at home now with pro-level accuracy. Both Razor and I have one. If you're new to the Morning Brew with Razor and Jaffe, you haven't heard us talk about it, but it is the most simple, easiest, foolproof machine that you can ask for. More than 25 teams now, Razor, are using Spark technology. And basically, at first you're going to pay for the Sparks machine. I think they're going $6.99 now for the smaller one. But when it's all said and done, and you use it for a year and a half, whether you've got 1, 2, 3, or 4 people or more using it at home, it's going to more than pay for itself. It's basically only about $1 per sharpening. And if you use Morning Brew at checkout, use Morning Brew promo, you get free shipping on your Sparks skate sharpener. It is highly worth it. So thank you to Sparks for being involved.
Yeah, big tournaments this weekend. My kids, we've got Sparks machines ending up in the vehicles on the way up for the hotel get
Very
them
smart.
done, buzz them 4 or 5 games, and in the bowels of the garden, the Senate, everyone, I saw a few Sparks machines down there tonight too. So
they're
no
out
joke.
there.
They're awesome.
No,
they are awesome. They are not a joke. They're the real deal.
These guys have, we all have the replaceable, interchangeable blades now and everything. But if a skate needs to come off quickly, if the guy doesn't want to change the blade, they can do it instantly. Keith Robinson, one of the great equipment guys in the National Hockey League, uses them when possible, when he can. All right, a couple of other things, coming from the game. I want to get your opinion on Swayman, in the sense of I don't know if there's a schedule for Thursday's game against Edmonton yet. I don't know. Not sure. Everybody will ask Bruce Cassidy tomorrow. But I thought he played with command, control, confidence. And I would say, as much as Linus has been fine his last couple of games, would you go with Swayman again on Thursday, not knowing if there's a schedule or not already out there?
Not knowing the schedule, I think I look at it 2 ways. These are the two. So on the Swayman side of things, you keep looking at the fact that he hasn't lost in the Garden. I look at the game tonight. He gave up 2 bad goals, or 2 goals.
Mm-hmm. Although he did say the second one, the second one, I think it hit something. He didn't love it, but he's like, it hit something, but I got to, like a goalie, I'm telling you what you already know. He had to just let it go.
Yeah, no, that's the point of the first goal. He let it go. He grinded. He got through the first period, 2-1, and then he gives up that goal. And I was back there. I'm not sure what happened. It might not have hit anything, but he got, he was screened. He was looking. It happens. Pucks go in. It wasn't a big deal.
Right.
If he only gives up 2 goals, they win that game. That. And that's what he did. He came up big afterwards, and he has that ability, and I like that ability about him, and that's what's going to make him survive in this league and be successful in this league. So because of the way the game played, I like his win more than I do if he had a shutout and just cruised like the home opener against Dallas. That was a much better game he played against Ottawa for me as a goaltender. I like that better, him finding a way. And then and the home record that he has is now up to 7 games at home without losing. The other side of it is they have 2 back-to-backs coming up on on the next 2 weekends.
Mhm.
It's easy just to keep alternating right now. Rather than start messing around, it's easy to go back to Allmark at home.
Mhm.
I thought he was good in Toronto. I think I don't see any fault in his game there.
Mhm.
And then you just alternate the next. I don't mind seeing an alternate play here with these goalies for 10, 12, 15 games.
Okay, one just
I think that serves everybody well.
okay, and yeah, you're right. It gets everybody going, and after Monday's game, they have. After Sunday night's game, they have 5 days off again. So you want to
That's
get
right.
everybody playing. So
And so to if you back into this, right? If you back into it and you think about from Allmark's point of view, if he doesn't play Thursday and he only plays one game on the
right,
weekend, then
then you
he's playing 2 games in 2 weeks
right. I
rather
agree.
than 3 games in 2 weeks, just like Allmark. So you can the way that schedule sets up because of that, I think you go back and back. But because again, I don't think they're in the business of finding a starting goalie in this part of the schedule. I think it's in the middle of December, later into January.
Okay, could that starting goalie be Tuukka Rask, given how
I
that
know.
situation came out? And we've known, and I've heard that Tuukka's been rehabbing and doing beautifully, and we know he's
Mhm,
been on the ice a little bit skating, and now we have pictures we saw
mhm,
wearing a practice jersey, a Bruins practice jersey, out there with working with goalie Bob, and coming in early, doing his thing. It looks like it. It's the old smoke, there's fire type thing, Razor. It feels like it, right?
mhm.
And
Yeah,
it's way too far ahead to put you on the spot, but I know I'm going to get put on the spot. So what the hell? I'll do it to my buddy. I mean, does it? Do you think it's going in that direction? I guess that's the most obvious question.
it certainly seems so. For me, it's a completely different animal seeing him out there with goalie Bob and the Bruin puck bag and the jersey and Donnie Del Negro on the bench and everyone yucking it out. It looked like just a normal Bruins injured guy out there
Right.
practicing.
Right.
My vision of it for the next couple months was that it was going to be just him out there on the ice or him at 8:30 in the morning.
Or like him
Whatever it
going,
was, it wasn't going to.
yeah, him going to Ryan Rink and skating with a bunch of old farts, at
Yeah,
9.
yeah, exactly. Finding some ice on his own. It certainly. It also, I don't know. I know nothing about this. I just after watching that, I also felt like there has to be. Maybe people are in. Maybe this whole thing's been planned out. I don't know. Maybe this whole thing's been planned out. Um, for the goalies involved anyways, and there's an idea. It's interesting. It's going to be fascinating because this is coming down the pipe really quick. If he's out there skating like this, he's going to have to start playing with real players within the next 4 weeks.
Well, if you get so the next 4 weeks would be mid-December,
Hmm.
then you start practicing. I don't see him though coming back before mid-January. But you're right. But he would still have a month of skating with extras or in
With real
practice.
players.
Right.
And when does
But
he have to sign a contract to do
that's the
that?
thing.
When does
I
is
don't know.
why does he not have a what's going on right now with that? That
Well,
was my other thought.
because if you don't have to sign him, every day of not paying him
Oh,
is
no,
a
no, I
day
know why they
saved.
don't wanna sign him. I'm saying how can he use the facility? How can he have all of those things? How can he have a goalie coach and not be signed?
Well, technically, aren't you just allowed to? I mean, if he gets hurt, it's his own doing. I think now. My guess. I don't. It's a valid question. I don't know.
Yeah. Alright. That was like, how long can he do this? Like, can he skate with injured guys and just be like the emergency goalie?
Why
Can he
not?
be the emergency goalie for the
Well,
next 3
technically,
months?
he's not retired, right? So he
Yeah, so
can't
you
be the
can't be the
e-bug.
emergency goalie. But
He'd
how
have to.
so
Yeah,
when can he skate with injured how long can he skate with injured guys without having to sign a deal?
great question. I don't know. And were there? I don't think there were any guys out there. He was just working with a
No.
coach. Could he technically just keep skating on his own and
And then
with
can
the
he
goalie coach?
practice with the team without signing a contract? Technically, as long as he's not playing games.
Well, stuff to be answered, stuff that will be asked in the short future.
It's coming soon. It's coming way
to.
sooner. It's just funny having him out there. It's coming really soon now.
Yeah. All right. Well, that was just one of the last things. The real last thing is, so you did ringside. Have you ever done it before anywhere or no? Had you done ringside before?
No. I mean, I felt like the backup goalie. That's what I felt like tonight.
Right.
That was my, but that's all I've done. Yeah. But
no. First of all, you did a great job. It's not an easy position. The telecast has so much in it already. It's hard to utilize a ringside person much. I did between the benches at least twice, maybe 3 times for NESN. I've done it, I don't know how many. I'm going to say 100 times, but maybe not that many, probably 50 in the NHL between versus. I did it with I think I did it with the Islanders a little. Actually, and I didn't do it with the Islanders. I didn't have it in between the benches at home. But between OLN and versus, I did a lot. I love it. I absolutely love being down there because you're in that moment again. And your perspective changes on things, and you miss some things too, being that low. But on the other hand, you're just in it more. It's just great. So you did a great job. I mean, you only, for the times you were able to get in, but you made it worth it. It was fun having you and Patrice do that post-game interview. And the connection there obviously is great. And so you're going to do that a couple of more times, I believe, for NESN, right? Or is it a work in progress?
It's a work in progress. I'm back in there Thursday, so we'll see. It wasn't the game flow wasn't good at all in the first period with the penalties, and that's not going to do me. I need the best way is when it's like a 6-1 game when you're just talking at that point.
Right.
It doesn't help, but it was fun to be down there. It was fun. I got to see everybody downstairs, and a little bit. I was
hoping they put you in the actual well. That's where I do ringside when I do NHL radio for the playoffs. During the I've done a bunch of runs, and the Bruins were in it. I sat in there's behind the nets. There's these 2 kind of well areas there, and I sat there for doing it. And I love it from back there. You're just off to the right. Instead of in the ZAM, you're more behind the net, but they couldn't get in there, huh? They couldn't get you into that spot.
Couldn't get me in.
Maybe it's because there's already a camera there. Who knows? Anyways, good stuff. A lot of fun. Glad you were able to do that. And get you back at it on Thursday night. All right, so that'll wrap this up from this Morning Brew with Jaffe and Razor. Thank you to Sparks for being a part of the show again, as always. And our next Morning Brew is going to be on. Are we going to do on Thursday? Are you leaving Thursday?
No, Sunday night. Sunday night, do it Sunday. Monday morning, because I'm out of town right after. Like I'm flying out of here Thursday night.
Are you driving up to watch on Thursday?
I'm driving really fast Thursday, Friday morning. Yeah.
Oh, okay. Yeah. Maybe if something big happens in the game on Thursday night with the whole McDavid thing, who knows? We can always fire it up. I'll just take some fan questions or so. I don't know. Let's see. But we're going to do Morning Brew Sunday night. So we've got Edmonton on Thursday, New Jersey on Saturday, and is it Montreal on Saturday on Sunday night?
It's Montreal Sunday, yeah.
Okay. See the Carey Price thing came out with that, by the way.
Good to see him back. He's getting in the mix, and
yeah, but he's got
a long way to go. He acknowledged
he's got a long way to go.
He's not rushing this thing. He's going to figure it out on his own terms.
Yeah, he admitted to substance abuse of some type, or whatever. I don't give a crap what it is. Just please get better. Get better.
It's amazing. And again, the other thing that caught my attention in that is a couple years he's been dealing with it. The guy goes to the Stanley Cup Finals. You don't know, guys can. Right. That's how talented these guys are. At playing hockey, maybe not. None of us are talented enough to get through life without having issues, but. To play in the NHL and get to the Stanley Cup Finals with these issues. Pretty impressive.
It is very impressive. So we wish him the best, continued success. And you're right. Yes, we do see them on Sunday night. All right, that wraps it up. The Boston Bruins win 3-2 over the Ottawa Senators on Tuesday night. Razor and I will be back with you for another Morning Brew with Jaffe and Razor after Sunday's game. Everybody have a wonderful day. And as always, please, please, please enjoy that coffee.